Your God is not his God, and his God ain't her God, and her God ain't your God. Y'all got different gods, and you cherry picking. Stay tuned. What's going on, folks? It's your boy Javier Javier with the Javier Javier Show. Make sure you say it twice. Man, let's get into it. You can't cherry pick God. I'm not religious, but I'm going to say it like this. A lot of y'all decide what y'all take from y'all beliefs and what y'all reject. For some reason, I think your God always agrees with you. And even when you feel like your God don't agree with you, he understands or she understands. I'm trying to make this video about religion in general. I'm trying not to pick on a certain group of people, but it is a certain section of y'all out there that this specifically applies to. If it don't apply to you, well, you might learn something. But the simple fact is, you can't cherry pick God. And I say you can't cherry pick God for the simple fact is, if you got a Bible, if you got a Quran, if you got some doctrine that you follow, that you listen to, you can't just go in there and decide that I agree with this, I agree with that, but I don't agree with this, and I don't agree with that. Man, and then you try to dress it up with this whole complicated philosophical arguments, trying to make it seem like, oh, you got to take context. You gotta look at what the times it was going on in and why those things were appropriate for the time. Yeah, that makes sense to somebody. It don't make sense too. I'll put it like this. You could do that with anything. I've said that before. You can literally take any book, any Bible, anything, Harry Potter book, anything, and dissect it and make it fit for you. Let's just be honest about it. You are cherry picking your books. You cherry picking your religion. That way you can have the stuff you like and reject the stuff that you don't like. And when somebody confronts you about certain issues that's in your book or in your scrolls or in your doctrines, you got this excuse or you got these mental gymnastics that you done created in your head to make everything make sense to you. But a lot of y'all know that it don't make sense to you. That's why you cherry picking throughout the book. You deciding to pick certain things because you can defend them. And the things that you can't defend, you come up with this wild excuse about, oh, well, if you put it in context, these things were better than they was back then. It still didn't make it right. For instance, let's make this argument that God said slavery was cool, that the slaves should obey their earthly masters. You know how many different interpretations you could take from that? You know how many different ways you can slice and dice that argument and try to make it make sense to try to defend your God? But at the same time, it don't mean anything. Because anybody who's sitting outside and they're not stuck in your worldview, they can clearly see this is what you're doing. You're trying to compensate for the flaws in your book. That's why you create God. It's like build a God workshop. You know how you go to build a bear and you grab a bear and then you start stuffing it with this and you start putting this on it and putting that on it. You might walk up and down the line and say, I don't want this. I want a little bit of this. I don't want none of that. You know, you think I would like this color? That's what you're doing with God. You literally building a God. That's why if you go talk to somebody that go to this church compared to somebody that go to this church, they got different gods they believe in. And they'll even tell you that. They will literally talk about how the person at the other church is wrong and why they misunderstand what God was saying in this scripture and why they misinterpreted it this way, or they really just heathens and they don't got it right and your church is the only one that has it right. And then even some of y'all try to decide that, oh, it's the same God, we just worship it differently. You having your cake and you eating it too. You trying to make this circular argument to where nothing can penetrate what you already assume is concrete, but it ain't concrete. There's so many flaws in your logic when it comes to this book, and therefore you found a way to construct this whole wall. You put up this barrier to try to keep all criticism out on the other side, because all you can do is keep restructuring. You can keep taking bricks from part of the wall and putting it in different parts of the wall every time a different argument comes from a different place. Come on, man. We can't be doing that. Because the simple fact is, people always ask me, what are you wrong? If I'm wrong, then I could, what, go to hell. But the part they missing is, what if you wrong? There are thousands of other gods out there, and none of y'all are chasing those gods and trying to figure out how real are they. What if you're wrong? You're trying to say that you have, because you chose one religion, that somehow your chances of being right is higher than mine? Not necessarily. Let me ask you this. What if God put all this stuff in a book and it was all jacked up and all screwed up, and he wanted to see if you was moral enough to disobey him to do the right thing? What if you're wrong and you following everything the book says, which is the wrong thing to do by design? You couldn't prove that it ain't. This is the whole idea about having faith and about believing in something that you can't prove. You can do anything with that. So you cherry pick what you like and what you don't like. It ain't your fault. That's what they've been doing. That's why the churches and the synagogues and the church leaders and all these different people have been changing over time. That's some of the reason why the Roman Catholic Church don't do a lot of the things that they did in the past. They keep changing God. They keep changing doctrine. Now, you might say I'm attacking the straw man. You might feel like I'm mischaracterizing your arguments. But the simple fact is, you can tell me about it. We can talk about it in the comments below. You can tell me how I'm wrong and tell me what I missed and what I'm misunderstanding. But the simple fact is, I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible without getting so philosophical and theological and breaking it down to a scientific level. I'm just trying to simply say is, all y'all gods are different. Some of y'all might have the same God, but a lot of y'all got a different God. Y'all call him the same name. And then some of y'all are saying, well, it's all the same God. He's just different to each one of us. He reveals himself in different ways to many of us. Well, if that's the case, we all going to heaven. Because, you know, I ain't been revealed by your God a certain way. This is just the way it is. So I'm just putting that out there. Man, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and support the Hobby Lobby. Join the Hobby Lobby. Let's have this conversation. Let's keep it going, keep it moving. I got more videos coming on religion, politics, and culture. This is what I do. This is what I talk about. I love it. I hope you enjoying the content. You know, start those discussions below and let's get it popping. Sorry if I offended anybody, but you know how it is. You came, you heard, you saw. Now run. Tell them I said it. And if they ask me by name, make sure you say it twice. This is the Javier Javier Show.